You know, you just have a implied license. You don't really own anything. That's the perspective of these corporations.
Yeah, and they can revoke that license at any point.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about this is there was a huge controversy in 2012 where on Facebook you saw people posting status updates asserting that they maintained copyright ownership of their original content that they posted on Facebook. And that was quite a misnomer, because if you actually read Facebook's own terms, they merely stated that Facebook asserts the license to use and display that content, not that it owns the copyright to that content. So this PayPal TOS update is a lot more draconian than the Facebook situation, which caused a lot of controversy back in 2012. And again, no one's reported on this. There are 2 blogs where a handful of people are freaking out about this. No news organization has picked it up. And again, as he said, they know that people don't read terms of service agreements, so they can slip this kind of stuff in. Whether it's legally enforceable after it gets publicity, which it should do, you know, I would be doubtful of that. But it just shows you the attitude that these huge corporations, and of course, you know, PayPal is not given its record. I mean, they froze WikiLeaks' account back in 2010, so they've got a history of targeting groups politically. The head of PayPal, one of the head developers, as we covered earlier this week, is now advocating that instead of a password, you would have a brain chip to access your computer or, you know, eventually your PayPal account itself. So it's not a very venerable company in terms of its history. And with this kind of language, they're only going to drive more people away. But, you know, it's like there are very few alternatives to PayPal. This is the problem we have when corporations get these kind of monopolies over things like payment systems, because I've been using PayPal for, what, 15 years now, and I've never run across an alternative that works as well. So, I mean, that's how they maintain dominance over these sectors.
Well, absolutely. And of course, one of the previous top people at PayPal went on to form Palantir, which is involved with the PRISM program and working hand in glove with the CIA. These guys that are at the top, these guys that go to Bilderberg and hang out, just like we were talking about earlier in the show, David Petraeus, he turns over a bunch of information to his mistress, and he just gets a slap on the wrist. He gets a fine that is 75% of one of his speaking engagements and a 2-year probation. And look at how draconian, other than that, this administration has been coming after every kind of whistleblower. But of course, David Petraeus, not in exposing any criminal operations, and I guess that's why he got a pass, but also because he's part of the elite insiders. But I think, you know, Paul, when we look at this, it troubles me how copyrights are being used. And we need to have a discussion about what a legitimate copyright use is. Certainly, people should have some property rights, but the way this is being extended by these corporations is a way to turn everybody into serfs, into slaves who don't own anything. I remember the dispute about It's a Wonderful Life. That was something that was owned by a movie studio that changed hands a number of times. It wasn't initially a successful movie, so nobody was really paying too much attention to it. It passed into the public domain. And at that point, Ted Turner and his cable station picked it up and started playing it frequently, and that's when a new generation discovered that movie. It became very popular, and it was in the public domain and being freely sold by a number of different studios that were packaging it out there. And what they did was they went to court and they asserted that they had copyright usage going back to the script. And doing that, because the script is a written piece of material, they have different copyright uses for that. So they use the script to basically take it back into copyright within the United States. Now, other countries are not recognizing that because they did really allow that to slip. But that's the kind of legal tricks, just like you're seeing with this user agreement, that's the kind of tricks that they're doing. And of course, the biggest trick that they're about to do is the trade partnership agreements, the transatlantic, the trans-Pacific partnership agreements. These are being done in secret. We know that copyright is a gigantic portion of that. And of course, the thing that concerns me the most is how they will be able to, because they're the big guys, you know, it matters who accuses you. If it's a big corporation, they don't really have to prove anything. They can just accuse you, and just like civil asset forfeiture, they can shut you down without finding you guilty of anything, without giving you a day in court, without any due process. That's what's coming with all of this copyright stuff.
Yeah, and also we see that with them tying it into cybersecurity. You know, Stuxnet, yes. Flame, you name it. All those big cybersecurity problems, those issues, were all contrived by either the U.S. government, the Israeli government, or both of them in unison. And now they're exploiting the copyright issue to push the re-emergence of legislation like SOPA and CISPA. I mean, look at what happened. Look at what happened to Aaron Swartz. He was made an example out of. He was, you know, completely demonized, and obviously it led to his tragic suicide for uploading academic documents to the internet. Something which, even if you believe he was in the wrong, would have received a fine or a light prison sentence. He was completely hounded by the authorities, which led to his suicide. So they're making examples out of people. They're using copyright to go after the small guy, while claiming that they assert ownership over your material if you simply use their services. It's getting completely out of control.
It's all about sharing, and it's all about asserting their ownership. Stay with us. We're going to be right back with Paul Joseph Watson.
Communist China freely allows the sale of bulletproof armor plates, while our U.S. politicians argue from banning Americans from owning body armor.
Does that sound right to you?
Arm your American body at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Infidel Body Armor just won't quit.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Hey, Boomer! I learned in school today that 60% of our bodies are made of water. Good thing we have the Berkey system. It's the cleanest, best water ever. Mom says it's because the Berkey's filtration system cleans out the bad stuff and leaves only pure, delicious water. I know, right? You love it too. Yeah, I'm thirsty too. Let's go get some. Get Berkey clean water by calling 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Or visit GoBerkey.com.
Why use dial-up when you can use broadband? Why travel with this when you can use this? And why would anyone use colloidal or ionic silver when you can use supernatural silver? Supernatural silver is state-of-the-art, and it's been clinically proven to be several hundred times more effective than those other silvers. It's powerful enough to protect you and your family from the threat of deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. But it's so safe that it can be used internally or topically. And you'll never again deal with the nasty side effects of harsh drugs or antibiotics. Hundreds of scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions have all shown supernatural silver is a powerful weapon in the fight against invading pathogens. Supernatural silver is a must-have for your arsenal. Go to supernaturalsilver.com today and use the promo code SILVER2015 for 30% off. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
The folks at My Patriot Supply get it. They know the world can be unpredictable, and there are some scary things happening right now. The only way we can make sure we maintain our independence, despite the situation, is to take control and get prepared. They've come up with a deal that will help you get prepared for anything. Right now, you can get a 4-week food supply for only $99. That's almost 50% off the online price. Call 800-274-3070 to claim yours while supplies last. Limit 2 per caller. This offer isn't available online, so take advantage of this opportunity to get prepared today. 800-274-3070 to get your 4-week food supply for the incredible price of only $99. Call 800-274-3070 right now. That's 800-274-3070 to claim yours while supplies last.
Day after day, alone on a hill, the man with the foolish grin is keeping perfectly
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and we're talking to Paul Joseph Watson. We're talking about how the corporations are extending their copyrights in myriad ways to assert ownership over everything. And now we've got PayPal with a new user agreement. And of course, as Paul pointed out, Facebook once before came under a lot of criticism for putting out a new copyright statement, but they made it clear in their statement that you retained copyright to your content. This one from PayPal looks far more extensive. very alarming language that's in there. I want to go back to Paul, but before we do, I just want to let you know that we have free shipping at InfoWarsLife.com on several products, on X2, on Supermail, on Oxy Powder, and on Silver Bullet. We have free shipping at InfoWarsLife.com. And, of course, we also have the special 50% off on Silver Bullet. You can get that now at a $15 per bottle savings. It's the biggest discount we have ever had on Silver Bullet. And, of course, we run out of that frequently. It's a great time to stock up on that. It's half off and free shipping. Also, we have another special. You can get a free bottle of Fluoride Shield when you stock up on 2 bottles of X2 nascent iodine, or when you get 2 bottles of Silver Bullet. You can get a free bottle of Fluoride Shield along with free shipping. That's at InfoWarsLife.com. Let's go back to Paul again. Paul, we were just talking about how they have extended these copyrights and what is coming up with the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Of course, we have a fast track that was just passed last week. They're going to fast track the fast track negotiation. How are people reacting to this in the UK?
TTIP has come up on a few occasions, but there's definitely a media bias not to cover it. One of the fringe parties introduced it during a political debate last night, I believe it was. Obviously, we've got a general election coming up in the UK next month. And he's the head of the reality party. He accused the BBC of hiding it, not talking about it. And they, of course, claimed, oh, yes, we did mention it. And they always do that. They can claim, oh, we mentioned it in this report. But There's a difference between mentioning it and actually giving it the coverage that it deserves. So there's definitely been a tendency, definitely in the UK, to sideline that entire issue because they're part of the same team, but we don't even know what's in most of it because they've classified it under national security. And in fact, I think it was Elizabeth Warren who said if people knew what was actually in this, they would go completely crazy, and that's part of the reason why they're keeping it classified, obviously.
Yeah, she went to the White House. Some of the members of Congress were briefed on it because, quite frankly, the Republican Party seems inexplicably to be 100% behind this because it's labeled as free trade. So therefore, you're supposed to be for free markets. But this is not a free market. This is crony capitalism in its worst form. This is corporate fascism in its worst form. And a lot of people, I think, in the Republican Party understand what that means after looking at the bank bailouts. They understand that bank bailouts were not free market. This is the same sort of thing, and Republicans need to wake up to this as well. But it's just a small fight going on right now. The general public hasn't really woke up to this, and it's just kind of a fight back and forth between elements within the Democrat Party, and they're portraying this simply as being the unions against this kind of export of jobs and managed trade. But it is much, much broader than that.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between free market and corporatism,
yes,
which is what this TTIP is. It's allowing foreign corporations to change U.S. laws. It's a complete violation of U.S. sovereignty, and it's not going to help the vast majority of businesses in the United States. It's not going to help the middle class. It's only going to help the huge corporations that already get special favors from government, that have revolving doors with government. And as he said, it's the ultimate expression of crony capitalism, has nothing whatsoever to do with the free market.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you for joining us.
Republicans are supporting it.
We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us, Paul Joseph Watson.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
Introducing Secret 12, the new InfoWars Life vitamin B12 formulation. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules. You will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.